All right, let's give that a try. See if that's any happier. Connection is unstable. Still say plug into router. Maybe I should get like an actual thing. Do I have enough? Yeah, I do. Ooh, actually, I have a thought. I'm having a thought. Okay, that's better? Cool. I just realized something. One moment. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Okay. Data quality video is working. Okay, I may have a solution to that. Hold on. Plug this in here. Okay. Things are gonna get weird for a second, but give me a moment. Okay. All right, we'll see if that's any happier. And then we'll go back. I want to go to networking, which has gone away. Storage. Okay. Windows is being a little weird. 1020p, but still there. Okay, cool. Better than nothing. I want to. I have switched so that now. Okay, Ethernet 3. The hell? Okay, well, actually, that does make sense. Let me just try switching off of Wi-Fi. For a second. Okay, I am now on Ethernet, kind of quote unquote directly. I now have Ethernet plugged in to like a USB-C to Ethernet cable, which still isn't very happy. That's annoying. It doesn't seem to be any better. Interesting. Okay, well, fair enough. I don't think we're going to get any better than that, though. How's quality now if I'm still here? We'll see how things work there. Hopefully I'm still around. I kind of can't tell on my side, sadly. Grainy, high quality potato. Great. Wonderful. So yeah, I don't have a good answer for that. I may have to play around with, I'm obviously getting a signal. Might be time to reboot the router. Although it's kind of odd to have that. But anyway, we're going to keep on keeping on. We're just going to chat for a little bit here. So what you been watching, everyone? I really want to get back into Akiba Made War. I actually watched the first 4 episodes of Akiba Made War last week. That was awesome. Really loved that show. It is ridiculous and fun and fantastic. But just, ridiculous. Not everyone's going to like it. It's very over the top. It's very silly. You also have to kind of appreciate the Yakuza tropes they're going for. But again, it's fun enough for what it is. So that's been fun. I also played a round of Gundam Evolution yesterday. Finally checked that game out, which was enjoyable. I mean, it's very much a squad-based shooter. It is that thing, but it's well executed. It's fun. It's enjoyable. So that is that was cool. I definitely want to play a bit more of it to get a better feel for it. I've played a few shooters in the past, but never really got into any of them. So I may or may not stick around for Gundam Evolution, but I wasn't like immediately bored. Like I enjoyed that match. So I want to maybe play a bit more to see if I continue enjoying it. We'll see. Matt asked, what is Gigantor? Gigantor is the Americanized version of Tetsujin 28 Go, which is the first giant robot anime series from 1963. At least aired in Japan in 1963. Came over here in 64, 65, I think, over to America. And boy, is it cheesy. Boy, is it ridiculous. It's very much kid saves the day thanks to controller on giant robot. The villains are always trying to take over the world. The plot doesn't really make much sense in the episodes. I mean, I take that back. The plots make sense. They're just absurd, right? It's like we're going to take this tween boy to Antarctica and get thrown into the water and swim around, and we'll be fine. Gigantor was definitely an inspiration for Iron Giant, Matt. There's no question. The difference here is the Iron Giant has no intelligence. It is just a robot that he kind of controls directly. There's obviously some extra stuff inside Gigantor, some extra electronic intelligence that allows it to actually punch and fly and do all that kind of stuff. But it's basically the thing. So it's a little different than Iron Giant, who is a separate intelligence, but very much a kid and giant robot kind of thing. And I don't recommend it. It's an interesting historical artifact, and once I get a chance to actually show you the analysis, which I don't think is going to be tonight because potato quality, but it's just really the animation is really low quality. I mean, much lower quality than Astro Boy. It's actually kind of interesting. It's almost like they just kind of took the storyboards and kind of put those on and then animated, eye blinks and, arm raises and things like that. And I mean, there are a few animations here and there, but it is mostly static. There's very little motion or movement. And a lot of the camera angles are just, character talking like this, right? Just very, very static, very, simple things, not very exciting, not very interesting. So it's interesting as a historical artifact, but not something I'd say that you should go back and watch every episode of. And for some reason, I'm getting a lot of flickering on this. Add some extra light. In fact, I would say Astro Boy is better animated than Gigantor by a good margin. There are more interesting camera angles in Astro Boy. There are better, there's better stuff going on. There's more interesting visuals. It is just visually, Astro Boy is visually more interesting to look at than Gigantor. Gigantor is very plain, not just in terms of the amount of animation, but in terms of just, there's a shot of Gigantor, there's a shot of a kid, there's a shot of somebody else, just, simple profile or whatever. It's, and that's not to say that it's like, that anyone who enjoyed Gigantor as a kid was wrong to do so, right? It's just it's very simple. It just doesn't have a lot of depth or complexity or stuff going for it. Like there was a review in New York Times, I think, when it came out, that was in America, that was very derogatory. It was like, this is bad. And I kind of agree, unfortunately. But again, it's interesting to talk about, and we had a good time kind of pulling it apart and looking at all that kind of stuff. I loved the first episode of Dance Dance Danseur, Invisible Man. That was really cool. I would love to watch more of that. I'm hoping that I get some time to go back to that. What did you think of the overall story there, Invisible Man? John's been watching Do It Yourself, which I need to get back to as well. Reincarnated as a Sword. Cool. Talked to some friends who were kind of turned off by Reincarnated as a Sword. Just a bit too generic in premise, which I can understand. Not their kind of thing, but I liked it. I thought it was cute. And yeah, exactly, John. Gigantor is a kid-controlled drone. That's precisely what it is, which is a little weird when you think of it these days, especially a drone that can like punch mountains. It's like, yeah, give that to a kid. It'll be fine. Well, why not? What could possibly go wrong, so to speak? So yeah, very, very strange. But oh well. Actually, I wonder if it's time to change internet providers. Maybe it's one of those things. You know, it's like, oh, this ISP is not working out for me. We will see. So, oh, that's nice. I got a little, got some cookies in the mail. That's nice. Let me see what else I've got around here. Trying to think. There hasn't been like too much of changes in my life. I've actually been pulling down a lot of my things, kind of doing less. Like I said, playing Genshin and Horizon and Gundam Evolution. If anyone's interested in Gundam Evolution, by the way, I'd love to squad up, team up at some point. I don't think I've even gotten to the point where I can. I think I just played one round or one match. But that might be fun at some point. You know, go and destroy some mobile suits with some friends. I will say there's something about the animation in Gundam Evolution that just seems a little off. The way the mecha move around is just maybe a little too slick, a little too. I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't seem quite right, which I can't quite put my finger on. It's like there's. I'm thinking now there aren't enough points of articulation, right? They move around with just a few little joints here and there to kind of do their movements, and it just feels a little static compared to what we're used to watching all of those, all those plates move and so forth on the actual mobile suits. You think of CGI being what it is, like, yeah, you've got all the points, but there's just something about, actually, you know what I'm thinking, even further, because of the way the joints move, the joints aren't necessarily exactly attached, as like ball and socket joints on a mobile suit. And so the way that's animated can come off in a certain way, whereas with a CGI, machine, they're just pivot points, right? So you can kind of move them however they want. And it just doesn't quite, match up with the way I think they would go. They lack a certain amount of gravity to them, right? It just feels like they can, you can move them in any direction. It's like they're in space. But it's a shooter, right? Who cares? It doesn't really matter. No one's looking for ridiculously strong animation on that. That's enjoying Chainsaw Man. Awesome. That seems to be the breakout anime of the season. Chainsaw Man, not surprisingly, one of the more shonen anime out there. Okay, that sort of dipped a little. Not surprising. A lot of anime do that, where they kind of, really build and then it kind of falls off a little bit. Do you know if Dance Dance Danseur is based on anything, like a manga or a novel series or whatever? Feels like it was based on a manga. Kind of had that feel to it. And so that could be one of those things where the manga just started building up or started going in a different direction, and the anime in terms of adapting is now shifting around a little bit, right? It's a different pace, manga versus anime, and sometimes it doesn't work to the anime's favor, sadly. I've been thinking a lot lately about some other ways of presenting stuff here on the channel. Actually, I wonder if I can show you. Can I? If I can share screen. I wonder if I can show off this thing I'm building. It's a very silly thing. Here's a silly thing. Let me try this. So hopefully, yeah, you can all see that. So this is an attempt to build a Kamishibai application. Kamishibai is a form of storytelling. Actually, let me explain by getting something here over the other side of the room. I know I mentioned Kamishibai before. It's a form of storytelling where you have cards in something here, and you can slide the cards around. And one of the advantages of the format is that you can have Astro Boy slide out, talk a little bit about the next card, introduce what's going on there. One day Astro Boy was driving along at supersonic speed, and got closer and closer to something. And ordinarily, you'd slide these back into back. That a little hard with these number of cards. And in the next story, you might have, but then he was driving along, and all of a sudden, crash. You hit the side of the road, etc. and so forth. So you can kind of tell stories with Kamishibai. But what I'm playing around with now, is digital Kamishibai. So the idea is you can drag and drop images, and these are just random images I had through AI-generated art. Do I have any more? I know I have more. Yeah, let's throw some stuff on here. Boom. Boink. I believe that's that's kind of a fun one. And so the idea is you can take these, and then once you have them all loaded in, you hit next. You could actually drag and drop those and reorder them. Then you can grab these and slide them the same way. And kind of do okay, and then we reveal a little bit more of that. Go to the next card, reveal some of that. Whoops. Reveal a little bit more. Whoops. Reveal. Oops. We're having some weirdness there. Go to the next card, and you kind of go through your images that way, or you can just kind of go next card, previous card, all that fun stuff. Go through all of them. Unfortunately, they're meant to be kind of scaled for the screen. Like, it doesn't have a great way of approaching that. So if they're taller than the screen, it just kind of cuts them off. Don't have a great solution there. This is, by the way, AI's version of Anna Green Gables in anime style. Nothing on the screen. Oh, fun. I'm back. Is this showing up now? I hope this is working out. Uh-oh. What did you guys see? Did you see any of the images on the screen share, or was that just not showing up at all? That's bizarre. It was showing up over here as doing something. How strange. Just me. That's weird. I'm just screen sharing some normal images. Huh. What happens if I do this? Can you guys see like a anime girl in 18th century clothes? Does that show up? Or like 19th century clothes, rather? It could be it just showed like what immediately showed up on screen or not. I don't know. Nope. John's seeing 4 images. How weird. I'm not seeing any of that. Bizarre. Oh, well. Huh. Okay. Yeah, it's not grabbing that screen properly. Let me re-add it. Remove. Add. So you should be seeing an 18th century girl, 19th century girl on the screen now in front of some woods. Maybe not. Computers are weird. Who knows? I was really enjoying the video posted earlier today or yesterday, about Princess Mononoke versus James Cameron's Avatar, which I didn't get all the way through, just the first like 10 minutes or so, but a really interesting stuff. Nothing on the right. Wow. All right, so let me just completely reshare that screen. Oh, I can also try that. I'm going to share like the application window. Maybe that's better. But yeah, basically the video was arguing that Princess Mononoke and Avatar, obviously different movies, but they are both approaching, some of their topics are similar, right? About conflicts between different cultures, dominant cultures versus subordinated cultures, kind of the assault on the land, that kind of stuff. So very, some similar themes there, and that Princess Mononoke's treatment of that is much more intricate and much more thought-provoking and much more nuanced than Avatar's is. Avatar's just blah. Okay, so this is what. So I asked an AI to draw Anne of Green Gables in anime form in the woods, and that's what it drew, which I think was kind of cool. You can imagine that. And then just for fun, I'm going to see if this works. This was just a space art. So like a retro space poster, I think was what I asked for. And that's what AI gave me, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, it was an interesting thought on Mononoke versus Avatar. I mean, the video went further to say that Avatar is like actively damaging. Like its portrayal of different things is harming the audience, if you will, in terms of what they can take away from that, because it's just so simplistic, where it's just, where it has this sort of insultingly stereotypical portrayal of Native Americans, basically. Yes, this used Midjourney. That was red-haired anime girl, which is rather creepy. If this is actually working to show the different things. Yeah. I agree. I don't think Avatar is a particularly nuanced film. Not that, I mean, it's fairly obvious, but unfortunately, folks are like, "Wow, it's this, this metaphor." And it's like, yeah, but it's a really bad metaphor for things. And you're right, John. Avatar was Cameron developing new 3D technology and needed pretty pictures to go with it. Going back to a story that you envisioned as a kid isn't always a good idea. Childish ideas are often childish, it turns out. So yeah, kind of interesting. We'll go back to Anne of Green Gables, but just unfortunate. I also don't find whatever the Avatar planet is particularly interesting visually. Like there are some notable visual moments, but it's more like screensavery moments, if that makes any sense. Where it's like, ooh, that's detailed. Like there's a lot on the screen at once, but it feels kind of samey. It's like everything's blue. And gosh, there's a thing. In fact, there was somebody saying, people were like, wow, how inventive. Look at look at the Star Wars prequel films, and the animals there look as inventive as anything in Avatar. Right? It's the same basic idea of we're gonna stick this animal on top of this animal, pretty much. I have never seen Fern Gully, which, in fairness, came out at a time when, like both me and my parents saw that and were like, we know what this is. Like this is propaganda. Not interested. So yeah, one of these days I want to go back to Fern Gully and just kind of experience that thing, because that is definitely a thing. Not the biggest film in the world, but something I want to have in my quiver, so to speak. And a lot of kids in my generation did grow up with it. It was a fairly formative film at the time. Yeah, the fight scene tactics, and I mean, I think, Cameron borrowed a ton from anime for those final fights. Besides just having a giant robot fight, right? I mean, it's technically powered armor. Well, I mean, it's not really powered armor. Those are mecha. No. I could go either way on that. Like, they're big powered armor, but they're probably powered armor. Anyway, but so besides there being powered armor, just kind of the fights, the idea of giant winged creatures flying over these things and dropping on them and so forth, just felt very much like an 80s action sequence, a fantasy action sequence or sci-fi action sequence, something out of Project A-ko or even Nausicaa. Felt kind of like that feel. Yeah, I'll be very curious to see how Avatar goes, because I think there will definitely be a nostalgia hit. A lot of folks will go to see it for nostalgia, but it might be one of those things where, day 2, everyone's like, and it drops off the face of the earth, It won't drop off the face of the earth. It'll people will go to see it, but I would not be surprised, to your all's point, if Avatar just kind of, we shall see. It's a shame. I mean, James Cameron was never one for ridiculous subtlety in his stories. Stories were never particularly crazy and complicated. The thing, but you look at Terminator, you look at The Abyss, those were films that were heavily crafted. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. And the characters were multi-layered. Sarah Connor was not a big buff action hero, nor was she just a random damsel in distress. John Connor was not the perfect action hero, right? So you had those elements in it. The Abyss is full of flawed people who succeed kind of despite of all that. So we'll see. And so just seeing where he's going with like Avatar and some of the other stuff is kind of like, it's kind of a step backwards, I feel like. Cameron could be one of those directors who is better under constraints. Give him $500 million and what you get is kind of generic, but give him 20 million and you get the Terminator, or however much that was. I mean, even Titanic was very much a passion project for him, right? Like all that stuff. But even there, I've not seen Titanic because, again, not my kind of movie. But what I've heard of that is it's just kind of like, okay, here's, everyone here is a stereotype, And again, we all like stereotypes sometimes. Like, stereotypes can be fun. Nothing wrong with any of that. Hey, Nugget Observer. We are just chatting about sci-fi movies and James Cameron. And but everything I've heard about the Titanic is that it's kind of just it's the character's kind of flat, or one note, I should say. So maybe that's just a Cameron thing now, sadly. Which again, it just seems like, look at Terminator 2, right? All those characters have flaws. One of the great elements of Terminator 2 is watching Sarah Connor deal with her damage, and seeing her resolve things. There's a great thing if you watch that movie from the perspective of Sarah Connor trusting John Connor to succeed, to lead rather, where he doesn't at the beginning and then he starts leading. There's a whole other layer to that film. Sarah is really pissed off kind of for most of the film. And then as soon as John starts leading a little bit, you see her back off. You see her start to just kind of, be okay, almost unconsciously. She's not even thinking about it. But when she sees that happening, she like takes the screws off of herself. It's really interesting. Alien is one of those franchises that there's a great segment from The Critic, which was I mentioned occasionally, it's a cartoon show from the 90s, I think. Yeah, 90s. Several of the Simpsons folks went out to create it. And the main character is a film critic, and there's a lot of film stuff. But there's a time when he's making this big, long speech inspired by Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. So he's kind of doing this big speech in front of people, and he's telling them about how to watch movies and how we need to like send a message to Hollywood to stop making bad movies. And there's one point where he says, look, after the first sequel, stop going back. And I think that's a really effective, way of seeing things, where usually the third movie is you can stop. It's fine. Especially if you didn't like the sequel, you don't have to watch the third one. You get one good sequel, basically. And obviously there are exceptions, Indiana Jones, but generally speaking, like the Alien franchise, you get Alien, you get Aliens, and after that, some of those movies are fun. I actually enjoyed Alien 4 when it aired on the Sci-Fi Channel, but that is very much a late night Sci-Fi Channel kind of a movie. So it's okay. Prometheus. Not to throw stones, but I don't think anyone should have gone into Prometheus expecting genius, expecting, a repeat of the first Alien movie. And it's just not how that works, sadly. You hope for it. You go into things with hope and desire. That's fine. But yeah. Sci-Fi Channel actually made a joke about that one, John. There was a great commercial. I think I mentioned at one point on the live stream where they were airing Star Trek 2, 4, and 6. And the commercial right there showed various clips and said, there are certain truisms in the Star Trek universe, or in Star Trek. Transporters malfunction. And they show you, ah! Klingons are arrogant. I enjoy this in the original Klingon. And even-numbered Trek films don't suck. And then Star Trek 2, 4, and 6 this Saturday. And just to say that, like, on a cable channel was kind of ballsy, I think, to just come right out and say that about something that you're licensing to put on your channel. That's pretty cool. And it's fairly true. Although I have a soft spot in my heart for Star Trek 1. The edited version, the director's cut. I mean, they went back in and fixed that really well. It does not feel long and interminable the way it used to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the director's cut is a much better. It's kind of tighter. It's reworked. It's re-edited to be a lot to make a lot more sense. And it doesn't remove the grandeur of it. It just figures out how to do that more effectively. Really well done. They actually found a special effects house that would rework the special effects in a way that looked like they were made in 1982 or whenever that movie came out. So it really made sense. It really it really fit. I remember watching those and going, wait, weren't the effects weird the first time I watched that? But I don't remember, I don't see what they changed. Went back and I was like, oh wow, I see what they changed now. But it all fit really well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A lot of shots of in the original version of that movie. Yeah, I think they fixed that pretty well. 3 has its ups and downs. 5, I think, is unfair. 5 is fun. Like 5 has its fun bits. There are definitely moments I enjoyed of 5. Some good humor in 5. I think, unfortunately, folks were just expecting something. I think that was just a mismatch of fan expectations in the movie. And it's not a particularly amazing film, conceptually and so forth. But I think it is. I think people got themselves a little bit. Folks just went a little overboard, I think, with their frustrations on 5 at the time. You can go back and watch 5 and enjoy it as a fun film. But yeah, I don't think I've seen any Trek. No. I've seen I think Generations is the last Trek film I've seen. Probably. Yeah. 1 through 6, Generations. I think I stopped there. Yeah, Reboot Trek is no more. I'm personally not sad. I'm not a fan of what they did with Star Trek in those movies. They're fun popcorn films, but I don't think Trek should be popcorn. But that is just me. I think I have a video on my Brent Newhall YouTube channel where I talked about that. And I was like, after it came out, I was like, I don't agree with the direction the reboot Trek films the Hollywood Trek films are taking. It just doesn't feel like Star Trek to me. Ironically, given the way the fandom is going, like I find Discovery more Star Trek than the Hollywood Star Trek movies. But yeah, I don't like Discovery, but I see what they're doing. But yeah, we're getting deep into weird sci-fi nerddom, which we like to do occasionally. That's fine. I wonder what Star Trek anime would look like. Star Trek is very much made to be live action. It doesn't really benefit from animation very much, I think. Obviously, there's Star Trek Lower Decks, but that is a very kind of limited animation show. It's sort of Family Guy animation, which is extremely limited. And so I don't know that anime with its particular approach towards it is limited animation, but it's very much about these stylized still images, basically. I don't think it would really benefit from. I don't think Star Trek would benefit from that style. It's more of a Star Wars thing. I think Star Wars is a more anime thing. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more it depends on how you do it. I think you could do a good Star Trek anime as long as you pulled back from people standing on the bridge reacting to aliens on a view screen. Animals on a view screen is funny too. But if there's more away missions, if there's more crazy alien world stuff, if you kind of free Star Trek from the we have the bridge set and we have the dusty planet with styrofoam rocks set approach of like classic Star Trek, which had to be that because nobody knew how to make a science fiction TV show back then. But yeah, if you made it more exploring alien worlds and interacting with weird alien races, I think you could make a good Star Trek anime. I would love to see a Japanese live action Star Trek. The more I think about it, that would be really cool. I could definitely do a Japanese live action Star Trek thing, like as an actual like a Japanese drama. It is all serious, subtle emotion drama. Now, actually, I'm getting excited. That would work really, really well. Not goofy, like serious, grounded drama, which the Japanese can do extremely well. Yeah, I think that's the direction I take it. Wow, that would be really cool. The more I think about it. Yeah, not so much Japanese Spider-Man, which I think is a plot point in Ready Player One. God. So I was just listening this week to a podcast called 372 Pages We'll Never Get Back, where two guys read fiction that they think they're going to not like, and then talk about it on a podcast. And they recently, their first book was Ready Player One, which I don't know if you guys have read Ready Player One. I tried, and it was a slog. I stopped after like 3 chapters. But I listened to their kind of discussion about it all the way through the book, and oh boy, that is there are some problems there. I can understand some folks enjoying it as quote unquote trash fiction, as just light entertainment. I'm just gonna enjoy the ridiculousness of it and all pop culture references. But as like crafted storytelling and literature, it does not hold up very well. But again, it can be fun. Actually, John, you're absolutely right. A Hideaki Anno Star Trek, I think, would be fantastic. Actually, I think Mamoru Oshii would do Star Trek really well as well, because he has those he tends to do more grounded, realistic, serious stories. He did a live action Mushishi, and I think that worked really well. Like it felt right. I would definitely watch that. What's Mamoru Oshii doing this? And of course, he's done a lot of live action. What's his latest thing? I'm looking it up now. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell. Bunch of live action. His most recent thing was, Vladlove, of course, the girl meets girl comedy anime. That's his most recent thing. Which have I seen that? I don't think I've seen that. I wonder. That might be fun. I've heard it's fun. Like it's not, like it's enjoyable. Yeah, I think his last, I think before that, his last anime was Skycrawlers in 2008. Granted, I mean, I would understand someone wanting to not do anime anymore. That seems tough. Yeah, exactly, Matt. And have those basset hounds, those Oshii basset hounds. Excuse me. John Ford Star Trek. Yeah, I mean, Star Trek was famously Wagon Train to the Stars. It was basically a Western in space. So I think John Ford would definitely work. It's one of the things I think Star Trek often misses is those grand vistas. You get some of that in the movies, I think, where they have the budget to kind of show some of that, but it just doesn't have that same feel of like a John Ford movie where you are living in this, remarkable visual place. I think it's weird. Okay, my video quality has not improved. I do not think I'll be able to stream our reviews and analysis much, I'm afraid, because you'd see one frame every 4 seconds. So that sucks. I will play around with my video settings. Whoa, that was weird. And see if I can't, maybe that's one of the problems. See if I can't fix that for next time. Again, it might just be a matter of going to the router and so I'm sorry, everyone. Technical difficulties this time around, which prevented us from actually doing the thing. Because of the storm, I've been having this issue for a couple of weeks now. Things have been weird internet-wise for me. So might even be just time for a call to Verizon or something to say, hey, what's going on? Can you poke the bits? But yeah, so the plan is we'll be back next Saturday. We'll probably do it at 8 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. Simply because of our schedules. We can't always get online at 7 on Saturdays, it turns out. So we'll probably start at 8, but I'll announce that on the Discord. And when we do that, I will probably live stream both the Gigantor stuff and whatever we record between now and then. So we'll have probably Gigantor and probably Sound of the Witch next time. Will be the plan. So we will have more next week, next Saturday. More to come. Don't worry. We're also going to try to get news out this coming up week. I completely forgot to record a news segment last week. Full disclosure. We will get news onto the YouTube channel at least, like this upcoming Monday or Tuesday. So you'll at least see that. You'll get to see our recording of that of the news. And then we'll come back a week from today and do that. So that's the plan. Apologies. Thank you all for your patience. It's a lot of fun talking. Appreciate having you all here to chat. We don't get to chat that much, and hopefully will be kind of what we can do. By the way, on Saturdays, we'll have more space and capacity to actually just talk us in the chat room. But anyway, thank you all. Take care. I'm going to head off and finish up stuff for the night. We'll be back next week, again, probably at 8 p.m. for Gigantor and Polyscience Witch. So see you all there. Take care. Till next time, watch more anime.